Seth Howard once again from the support team here at Life as It Could Be. And tonight we have Ron Otterstrom with us. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dave, who's got a quick bio and some announcements for us. So go ahead, David.
Okay. Hey, thanks, Seth. Appreciate it. Hey, everybody. Glad to have somebody on the line tonight with us. And I'm up here in Ogden Way, a few miles north of Salt Lake, visiting my sister. We're going to head off to in the morning. We're heading off to up Washington Way, up Kennewick, past the Washington area. My mother's had some health problems, and so we're going to go up and spend a little time with her. So looking forward to that. Although not the reasons, but anyway, it's so nice to be on the phone here with everybody, and so nice to see so many of you, by the way, at the Spring Ahead event. And I hope you'll really support the Spring Ahead event being held by Eric and Heidi up there in Wisconsin. Great events. I know you'll like it, and really something that'll help spark your business. So really go out and support that one. I really encourage everybody to. It's really nice to have Ron Otterstrom on the line with us tonight. Ron's Director of Commissions for Xango. He's actually one of Xango's very first employees, and I've known him from the start, and he's just an absolute, he calls himself a compensation plan expert, but he's quite a bit more than that. He's an industry expert on other companies and so forth. I have fun talking to Ron because I'm a bit of a student myself, as some of you know, on the industry, and it is just fun being around Ron and talking to him when we have those chances. But to start off with, Ron, I want you to say hi, but I'd also like you to tell us just a little bit more about yourself than I just introduced. I know you're a fun guy. I've been let's see now. We've been skeet shooting with you. We've been zip lining with you. We've gone to various games of the Jazz and the Real Salt Lake with you. In just a few days, I understand we'll be snowmobiling with you up at that April thing with some of the 20Ks. You're a cool guy, and you have a really neat skeet gun, by the way. And tell us, just catch us up and tell us a little bit about Ron Otterstrom, okay?
Wow, you're making my head get big, David.
Well, you are. You're everywhere I go. I see you. It's cool.
Yeah. Oh, where do you begin? The industry's been great. I've been part of it for 21 years. Been on the company side, been on the distributor side, and been on the software side where I sold software network marketing vendor companies and stuff. But it's kind of, you get the education kind of through school for Knox with a few of these things, and we've been blessed to know some great people in the industry, and a lot of that background goes back with Dwayne and with Gordon and Joe for many years, and also with Aaron and Gary and Beverly and many others.
My, really. So you're part of some of their early experiences at one or two of their previous companies, is that right?
Yeah, Dwayne hired me 21 years ago at a company he had called the Food Connection, and then
I'll be darned.
And then we merged with a group and formed a company called Enhanced Living, and at Enhanced Living we hired Gordon to come on and do our brochures and literature, and I had the opportunity of hiring Joe to be my French customer service speaker. So
is that right?
So it goes pretty far back, but great group of guys, and when I knew they were looking at starting something, I said I'm in it. And,
that's fantastic.
Been here.
It's so interesting. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just second employee with Xango. Been here from the start, and love it. You know, I love working with distributors. So
that was interesting to hear some of that. I didn't even know some of that. So you've been their boss. You've been their boss some of the time, and they've been your boss some of the time. That's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. Hey, Ron, you're Director of Commissions. I've spent many hours and days with you. You're really a mathematical and structural expert on pay plans. But like I said a little while ago, you were actually one of the company's first employees. But what I like best, I'd like just kind of you to tell us kind of what you like best about Xango's pay plans, especially pay plan, especially as compared to some of the older pay plans out there like Amway and New Skin, Herbalife, that type of thing, and maybe even make a further comparison to some of the newer wave of pay plans like binaries and some of the hybrids that are springing up, because so many people on the line are, of course, that comes up in conversations. What about the binaries? What about the, New Skins? What about so in a general sense, I know you can't go into each type of pay plan. We're not looking for a structural explanation on that, but just what's some of the keys that you like about Xango's pay plan as compared to some of the other things out there?
Well, one, our pay plan was designed to be fair, and it's actually helped create a middle class in the distributor field. Traditionally, in network marketing, you're dealing with, 98% of the money goes to 1 or 2% of the people. And Xango's plan, Gordon wanted in the beginning, he wanted it to be fair. He wanted it to take care of the smaller person and create a level playing field. So if you signed up tomorrow instead of 8 years ago, you'd still have the same opportunity as somebody 8 years from now. And that's always a tough element to fulfill, but we did it. You can sign up today and build an organization wide enough and deep enough and make more money than our top 10 or 20 earners combined. And you can't do that in other companies. If you didn't get in the beginning, you can't make more money than somebody above you. Those old traditions are there. We chose a unilevel because the unilevel is the most fair. A breakaway plan, you work hard, and all of a sudden it breaks away from you. You don't have it anymore. So you have to build another one. If you don't have it, you break it away, you lose it, you have to build another one. There's some good things about breakaways, but again, having it international, having it go global, the company that we were distributors with was a breakaway plan, and the equivalent was you had to have 2 20Ks and a 5K in the U.S., 2 20Ks and a 5K in Canada, 2 20Ks and 5K in Mexico, and so forth, to be paid in those markets as a premier. And we wanted a global plan so that you could have a 20K in Australia, a 5K in Russia, and a 20K in Taiwan, and be paid worldwide as a premier. Along with that, along with that, have worldwide pools instead of just market specific. Because and those were some of the basic fundamentals that we wanted to do. Binaries take advantage of the smaller people. You're required to have so much volume in both legs, but they pay you on one. Those types of plans, if you didn't get in early, chances are you're going to have a tough time. They do different tactics of PV splits, meaning Xango, you pay $120 for a case of juice, you get 120 PV, and 60 of it goes to the company, 60 of it goes to the distributors. That's a true 50% payout. A lot of binaries use the little games of you pay $130 for a case of juice, you get 100 PV for qualifications, and they introduce CV or commissionable volume, and that's what they pay on, and they'd pay 40 or $40 on that. And then they put it into a binary leg where you're paid on the smaller leg, and they can really take advantage of you. The company makes some good money that way. There's a lot of breakage to the company. And, I don't agree with those types of plans. Number-wise, if you were to take the total unilevel payout of Xango, and because of the 10% on third level, 5% on level 1, and so forth, and we don't put 10% on the 9th level, we're spreading it out, we're helping create a middle class and taking care of the smaller distributors, 64% of the total unilevel payout goes to 20Ks and below. 20% of it goes to the 1Ks. And that's unheard of in the industry. I mean, people just don't look out for the little people.
Exactly.
But we believe in, if we can help stabilize the small person, keep them longer, works on the retention, it stabilizes our 5Ks and 20Ks, and it stabilizes our premiers and above. And we've seen through the economy, the turnover the last few years, Xango stayed very solid. A lot of people's volumes are very solid. We took a little bit of a dip here and there in certain groups depending on how they structured. For the most part, everybody's been able to count on their volume being there, And the small people continue to order because a lot of them are getting their orders paid for.
Right, right. You know, you mentioned you mentioned one of the things. There's two things I especially stress on the pay plan myself. You mentioned one of those, and it is so big, and I want the people on the line to make sure they really understand that, maybe even hear it a second time for me. You talked about this element of breakage in relationship to the cost of products. And, you know, I actually took the time to go through that a little bit on the New Frontier video on Life as It Could Be, and you touched on it just now. I want to touch on it again. I hope people understand that this is such a huge thing. I left a company, and one of the reasons I left the company was just because of this. I left in that company. We started off with very early with a kind of a very strong multivitamin, and on that we paid 100% commission. What I mean, you know, what I mean is that it was a full payout. The thing cost us about $40, and they paid on $40, and they paid roughly about 45%. So they paid about 45%, $45 to the distributors on that 100. But all of a sudden, Ron, and you know the story, we were about a year old, and they said, we have to deduct some of the money that we're paying you, and so we're going to make the CV on that 90. And so here we had, not 90, 90%. So here we had this $40 vitamin we were buying, but all of a sudden we were only getting 45% of $36 instead of 45% of $40. We can buy 45% of $36. They were still telling people their payout was 45 or 50%, but it wasn't because they lowered the payout that we got on the product. Then all of a sudden it went to, you know, $30 and $28 and $26, and now that company averages a payout on they still pay that 45-50% they like to talk about, but they have a payout average of about 62 cents, or I mean percent, about 62% or so on the dollar. Companies everywhere like that, down the road, Nu Skin, Amway. I mean, almost everybody's like that. They have these BV and CVs, and it's very confusing to people because they tell people what they pay out, that they pay out 50% or 48% or whatever the compensation plan adds up to. They don't really pay that out because they're not you know, paying on the full purchase, a distributor purchase price of the product. And I hope that the people on the line kind of are aware of that, because it's one of the huge, huge advantages. I can't stress it enough. It's one of the huge advantages we have. Imagine having a volume. I remember my volume got up to about 8.5 million a month or something, and here was 8.5 million a month, but my BV, the amount that they paid on, you know, wasn't the 8.5 million. Xango would have paid on the 8.5 million, but the BV, or CV, the commissional volume that I was paid on, was actually like, you know, 5,800 instead of the 8.5 million. It was like 5.5 million or 5.8 million. Huge difference in checks. Huge difference in checks. The other thing, Ron, that I like is the number of people that it takes to get the depth of the pay plan. Sometimes that's not stressed enough, and that's kind of easy to talk about. And I just wanted to say that too, just as a compliment to some of the things you're saying. Is, you know, in some of the companies, one of the real fine companies down the road, to be able to pick up the total depth of their pay plan, you need to be 15 wide. A company I was a part of some time back, before Xango, you had to be 10 wide. There's several companies down the street. You need to be 8 wide, 6 wide, 5 wide, 10 wide. You know, different width or number of distributors you need to be able to pick up, to maximize the pay